Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, my dear brothers and sisters, and our esteemed scholar today, Dr. Ildus. This is the Islamic Psychology Network, the IPRN, which is a joint collaboration between our three organizations, the ISIP, Al-Balkhi Institute, and Maqasid Institute. We are really happy and delighted to be able to welcome everyone to the third series of our five-part lecture series of the summer of the IPRN network. Today's lecture is entitled How to Conduct Research with the Maqasid Perspective. And Alhamdulillah, Dr. Ildus is joining us today from Turkey, and we will start with him, inshallah. But before that, we will just go over a few etiquettes. Okay, so uh, first of all, please uh, do try to keep yourself muted throughout the session, but you're welcome, of course, to open your cameras. That is for us to build a sense of connection. And then we will have the lecture by Dr. Ildus. And we will, at the end of the lecture, we'll have some question and answers. So please do send your questions in the chat. We will be collecting them, inshallah. After that, we will have some closing duas, inshallah, and then we will be ending. And we encourage you again to keep your cameras on. That really helps us build our global community. We do ask that there is no recording or screenshots. And again, please keep yourself on mute. Please feel free to rename yourselves by including the place that you're joining us from. That helps us know all of the people in our community. And if anyone wants to use the live transcription, you can request it. You can press the more button, and then there are, where the three dots are, yeah. And then you can request to have that enabled. We have that. Uh, Before we start, I would like to tell you about an ISIP in little brevity. We are an inclusive space designed to connect people with diverse backgrounds in Islamic psychology, and we aim to disseminate knowledge and share resources in a free and accessible manner. We are hoping to help enable people develop their personal and professional interests with regards to understanding Islamic psychology within their community and countries of origin. There's different ways to stay connected with us. And throughout the session, inshallah, Sister Yusra will be sharing some of those links with us. Okay, so more specifically with regards to the IPRN, we have the IPRN information group. I hope everybody can see this on their screen, and we really encourage our participants here that if you're not in this group, please join it, and please get connected with us. Sister Yusra, you can also share this link in the chat, and I will leave this up for anyone who wants to scan this and join the WhatsApp group, inshallah ta'ala. And for another reminder for the people who have another reminder for the people who have actually registered with the first, from the first lecture, you will have to submit the reflection form before its closing date to get the certificate. And if you haven't registered, you are still welcome to join us, but you will not be able to get the certificate if you are not already registered from the first lecture. So that will be only going to the people who are willing to fill the reflection form within the deadline. And you will be receiving information about that through your emails as well. The reflection form for the previous lecture was closed. Both lecture started, and just like that, before the next lecture, starts the reflection form of today's lecture will be closed as well. There will be a deadline again. I'm reminding this to everyone, and you have to complete it before it begins. So we have with us Dr. Ildus Rafikov, and it is an honor for me to introduce him here. First of all, we would like to present him with our certificate of appreciation for his excellent work in Islamic psychology. And Rafikov has been working diligently in spreading this important uh, knowledge throughout all of the world and overall community. On behalf of the entire team, the company gives this certificate of inshallah ta'ala, we will also be reading this to you. And for further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Ildus Rafikov. He is the Deputy Executive Director, the Director of Research at Maqasid Institute Global. He was the founding managing director of IKI Academy. He is currently teaching methodology of research. He has a PhD from the International Islamic University. Is my voice clear to everyone now? Can anyone confirm that for me, please? Someone in the chat is saying that the voice is not clear. Is my voice audible?
Yes, it's better now.
It's better now.
It's better
It's
now.
better now.
Okay, let me hold the mic close so everyone can hear me properly. So Dr. Ildus, I was introducing him. He has a PhD from Islamic International University of Malaysia in philosophy, ethics, and contemporary issues, and a bachelor's degree in communications from the same university. He holds a chartered professional certificate in Islamic banking and finance from the International Center for Education in Islamic Finance, Kuala Lumpur. And he has published academic articles on economic methodology, speculation, scarcity, sustainability, financial crises, banking and finance, and reform in education from a historical and contemporary perspective. So now I will stop sharing my screen, and Dr. Ildus, I invite you to start your lecture.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Thank you everyone for joining this session today, and of course I thank the organizers, my colleagues at ICI, ISIP. And thank you for the invitation and the introduction. And my lecture today is going to be about the research. Doing research using the from the Maqasid methodology perspective. But just before that, what is the IPRN? Maybe you've already heard about it. You know what it is, and I guess you will get to know a little bit more about the Islamic Psychology Research Network as a joint project between the Maqasid Institute, the Al-Balkhi Institute, and the International Students of Islamic Psychology, ISIP. And so about the Maqasid Institute, so I represent MI. This is short. This is the short abbreviation for the institute that I'm from, MI, and it's a non-profit organization. It's based in the U.S. and it's an educational and research organization. And what we do is that we place the revelation, which is the Quran and the Sunnah, at the center of everything we do, as the center of education, of our action, of our research agenda. And so we place it at the center, and we try to understand the world, and we present it as a key to understanding the world around us. And so we focus on connectivity, on holism, and the on purposefulness. And all of this we can find in the revelation. It's in the logic of revelation, and so we are trying to use this idea of the connectivity, holism, and purposefulness, and we are trying to build our educational programs, our research agenda, and all our actions. And we do this through, again, we have our courses, and probably some of you have already attended our courses, Maqasid Methodology course. It's an online course. And inshallah, starting September, if I'm not mistaken, we are going to offer a specialized Maqasid Methodology course for Islamic psychology students and researchers, of course. And so what we do is the vision of Maqasid Institute is valuing the divine guidance in human affairs. And our mission is threefold. So number one is we provide knowledge and tools that enable scholars in different disciplines to reconstruct thought in their area of specialization using this Maqasid methodology. And so when I say reconstruct thought in their area of specialization, is that I mean all of us have kind of different areas of interest, area of specialization. But all of us, we can use the ideas of Tawheed and the Maqasidi thinking in building our knowledge base. And the second point in our mission is that applying the methodology, this Maqasid methodology, which I will present in just a while. Apply it in to critical challenges and phenomena impacting our lives, and also to facilitate the application of this methodology in personal and community life. And so we have even though we have our center in the US, but we're actually scattered across the world, and we have offices in different parts of the world, in Turkey, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in India, in some other countries. And so this is what we are trying to present. And inshallah, what I will talk about today is the research from Maqasid methodology perspective. Just share the screen with you. All right, so doing research from a Maqasidi perspective. Now, let me start with an idea, is that all of us, we have certain background. All of us are different. There is so much diversity between us. And there is something that we carry with us. And it always kind of seen from our actions, in our attitudes to others, and in the way we conduct ourselves among people. And all of this actually have influences how we perform in the academia as well. So today we'll just talk about doing research from a Maqasidi perspective, but I want to start with this ayah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. This is from Surah Al-Baqarah. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار والفلك التي تجري في البحر بما ينفع الناس وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون. So basically, this ayah, and of course, among many other ayats in the Quran al-Karim, that talk about the different ayats, and this is extremely important in any discourse when we talk about the Islamic perspective. So a discourse from an Islamic perspective, we have to refer to the primary source here, and primary source is Al-Quran al-Karim and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so this ayah, and as I said, there are many ayats like that. This ayah talks about different areas. We can that today we can actually divide them into like many different areas of scholarship. So it can be geography, environment, and biology. It can be engineering and shipbuilding, and it is agriculture and so on. So many of these things, they are part of our understanding, our culture, and culture in the scientific culture. And so when we talk about these ayats in the world around us and within ourselves, we from the Islamic perspective, I mean, in the Arabic language, they would use the term ilm, but in today's English parlance and in other maybe in other languages, we have some other terms. And this is what we use today. I mean, we use the term science to denote ilm. And so science, as we know, is the systematic pursuit of knowledge. And what it actually means is that we have some phenomena that is around that are around us. Everything that we see around us, these are phenomena. And we want to understand them, and we want to understand this phenomena, and we come to this to studying these phenomena from using some systems, some perspective, and what we do is we follow certain methodology. So I just want to highlight this last point here in the slide. But then even before that, we come to sciences, we come to knowledge from different perspectives. So and so in the Islamic perspective, we look at knowledge as revelation, and it is revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the truth in the form of ayats. And again, when we talk about science and ilm and innovation and scientific discoveries, we have to talk about the knowledge and in the form of ayat, and this is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of this is revealed. So this is revealed book of Allah is the Al-Quran al-Karim, and the interpretation of it is in the form of Sunnah. But also there is this something that is called the book of nature, or the book of human beings, or the book of man, or Al-Kitab al-Insan, and Al-Kitab al-Kawn. So all of these are like books, and we beside the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the Al-Quran al-Karim, we have to try and understand the other books as well. And we do that for the purpose of understanding the Creator. We understand for the purpose of understanding the purpose of our existence, and also what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expects from us. And then if we look at from the philosophical perspective, let's say the Plato's definition of knowledge is it's a justified true belief. And philosophers, what they wanted to do is to find the truth. They want to understand the world, and they want to find the truth. And today in our contemporary world, we look at knowledge as everything that is around us. We look at it as data and information, and anything that helps us to progress, that helps us to build on top of what has already been presented. And so today it's everything around us. It constitutes this data that can be used as part of knowledge, as a body of knowledge. And so there are many paradigms today, and the very idea of paradigm shift. Of course, it was presented, I think, first by Thomas Kuhn, if I'm not mistaken, in his book, the Structure of Scientific Revolutions. And so what he is saying in that work is that the science is just for a long time, it continues to develop within certain paradigm until the humanity come up. So maybe just one of a critical mass of scholars, they come and they come up with some new methodology, new approach, new discovery. And a paradigm shift happens at that time when more and more people start to accept this new approach, new paradigm. And so this is where the science today, and also in the past, like 200, 300 years, it has seen many shifts in science. And so what was acceptable just maybe 200, 300 years ago, it's no longer relevant, and especially in applied sciences and in medical science, and of course, many of you are in psychology field, and you also study the history of psychology and how much of this discipline has changed. And when we talk about research, of course, there are different research methods, and there are qualitative and quantitative methods, and there are mixed methods. And all of them we study under methodology. But then also we also need to look at the context and relevance, and whether the method chosen for a particular problem is suitable, and whether the context is suitable for a new problem or new context. And so all of this is part, in my understanding, part of the systematic pursuit of knowledge. And so, as we said, science is any system of knowledge that is concerned with the physical world and its phenomena. And this is this definition is from Britannica, and so they say it should be unbiased observation and systematic experimentation. So it's not only the natural sciences, but also now we can include the social sciences and humanities. And in general, science involves the pursuit of knowledge covering general truths. And so the science starts with not with the problem. In my view, science starts with interest, with fascination, with amazement. You are amazed, or you're just fascinated with some phenomena. You just see something in the world. Let's say, why do I, for example, personally, why do I feel the way I feel? Maybe as a psychologist, you would question yourself, or you would want to find answers to the question, why do people experience depression, or bipolarity, or something else? And so you're fascinated with this idea, and you want to find the truth. And so and of course, before you start doing any formal observation, and systematic observation, experimentation, formal research, of course, you need to get education first. So if you want to become a psychologist, of course, you have to study psychology, and hopefully, I would also advise to study other sciences, the medical sciences as well, and maybe philosophy. And similarly, in other areas of scholarship, like in economics, we can be well, we can focus on specifically on economics and really specialize, go into really something narrow specialization within the field of economics. But then it would be good to see what are the other perspectives that exist there. And so you start with a fascination. You want to find out the truth, and you start your systematic observation, whether it is experimentation or some other form of research, and you employ the feeling of doubt. You want to understand more. You doubt yourself. You say that you don't know exactly what's going on, what's happening. But you really want to solve this problem, and so you do everything that you need to do as a researcher, and then at the end you understand the phenomenon, and you try to control it. You try to predict it, so that next time when there is the phenomenon appears, you can advise someone to to do or not to do something that they used to do before. Let's say you can, through your research, you can suggest a new policy, or you can offer a new kind of a therapy in cognitive behavior, for example, and so on. And so you try to control and predict and effect some sort of a change. And from the Islamic perspective, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the ayats in the in the universe, in the natural world, and within ourselves. And all of those ayats, they point to the creators, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we use them in order to get closer to Allah. And so let us see at the usual kind of view of scientific method. And as I mentioned just in the previous slide, it starts with not with observation, even though you observe, you see something, some problem. But even before you observe it and you start, you become fascinated, maybe amazed at that, or you're interested to change and to do something about it. And then you develop your questions about this phenomenon. Maybe you want to understand it more, maybe you want to change, or you just want to see what other scholars have done previously. And once you get more information, and you are at the stage where you think you can bring your own hypothesis, or your own make your own statement about this, about whatever the problem you are trying to solve. And so you formulate your statement. It's a general statement or general explanation of that phenomenon. And then you kind of make like intermediate or preliminary predictions. This is what is going to happen if we change these or that variables. And then you gather data, and you try to test it and see whether this new data, whether they can predict, whether they can confirm your hypothesis. And then you are able to generate theories, generate your theory. If not, if your data do not confirm, do not explain your hypothesis, then you can get some more ideas, or you can redefine the hypothesis. But then you see, every step of the scientific method is affected by worldview. Something when I just began to talk about today, I said that all of us are different. All of us, we have this something behind us. We have some baggage that we carry, and that baggage actually affects the way we look at the world. And it will also affect how we see the phenomena around us. And so someone who is inclined to, who is interested in the natural world, in biology, he will see, maybe notice the either animals around her, or maybe some plants, and then observe them, and they become very interested, and they want to find out more about it. But if they're not inclined to, let's say, towards biology, maybe they're interested in the behavior of people. So most of you are here I think you're interested in psychology. And so you are trying to understand the behavior of people, but you carry something in you, and this is something is your worldview, and it affects every step of research process. And so the sources of acquisition and processing of knowledge, just very very quick look at it. This is from the perspective of a human being. All right, from the perspective of a human being who is trying to acquire knowledge. So all of us, we have the perception. It's no difference between anyone, between the human beings and other species. So we have the senses, and this is where we acquire the data. So that's the first instance where the data comes from. And we know that we are born with no knowledge, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentions it in the Quran, that we are born knowing nothing until we grow up, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the sight and hearing and the heart, and so that we use all of this, and we try to understand the world around us. And so we have this aql, we have the reason. And but of course, we do have each of us. We have this introspection. We can understand our own feelings. We can understand ourselves, and also the memory and intuition. Some people have stronger intuition. Some people have less of it. And then all of us, we have experience. But then the last point here I want to really stress upon is the testimony or the authoritative source. Why I see this very important to talk about in my presentation, talking about the research from Maqasid Perspective, because well, many of us, we have, as I said, we carry a bag, and we assign certain authority to somebody, to someone, to certain to a scholar, to a book, to a school of thought, and so on. So we have certain authority in whatever the area we we want to develop our scholarship in. And I guess in many of you who are in Islamic psychology, you would be probably studying the works of Malik Badri, rahimahullah. And he is an authority. He's really he was an authority in Islamic psychology, as of course many other scholars that you probably know. And in other areas of scholarship, we would always come up with some other scholars, maybe ulama, that the founders of the madahib, for example, and the other scholars of the past, and the scholars from the present, like Imam Yusuf al-Qaradawi, for example, many would know, and like Taha al-Alwani, and many scholars of that caliber, and also. So we have this testimony, we have this authority or authoritative source. And so we also need to be able to question that authority. Where does this come from? Is this authority really strong? Do we have, should we really rely on that authority? Where does this come from? What is the source? What is the source of that authority? And in Islamic tradition, the source of authority for us, the primary source is the Al-Quran Al-Karim, the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the explanation of it as the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the primary sources, and we need to be studying them and giving them the primacy, the primacy in terms of the authoritativeness of that of those sources. And after that, everything comes, from other scholars that provide their ideas, their scholarship. We need to be, referring to them, but of course we need to also judge them in relation to the primary source, to the Quran and the Sunnah. And so, what is worldview? Something that I said is really affects our the practice of research, or the educational practice, or action, anything that we do in life. And so the worldview is a belief system. It's a point of view about the world of an individual or society. And it's a mental model of reality. We have this world, we have this tasawwur. In Arabic they would use the word tasawwur, or imagination. Because the world around us, even though we see it as reality, basically it is it is something that is our reason constructs. Our reason constructs the reality around us based on certain premises, certain data, and so on. And so even the very same thing, the very same object, let's say, I may see, maybe in front of me a chair. I may see it in certain way, but another person's looking at the same object may see it differently, maybe under different light. And so it's a point of view. We are bound to differ in many of these things. And so the worldview, the structure of it, and so beside the word worldview, we can also use the word belief or faith, or aqidah, or paradigm, or attitude, the mentality. All of them refer to basically the same thing in my view. And so the structure of the worldview is that it consists of knowledge, the prior knowledge, or the knowledge that you acquire, is the ideas and principles that you develop throughout your life, the belief and ideals, your goals in life, and as well as spiritual and moral values. Now, worldview is never static. It's always dynamic, and we always, if we develop, if we progress in our education, if we read more, if we study and we talk to people, we try to understand the world around us more, we increase the baggage of this knowledge. We improve our ideas and maybe beliefs and our values. Again, depending on what the worldview you are taking. But then knowledge is part of it, and we are able to increase knowledge and enhance our ideas and principles. And so, what does it affect? The worldview, what does it affect? It affects our emotions and feelings. It affects the formation of thought. Someone who is inclined, someone whose fitra, let's say the innate ability, innate interest is in psychology, you would be forming your thoughts, you will be forming your emotions and your attitude towards and make decisions towards understanding this particular discipline, or understanding the behavior of people. So worldview will affect the formation of your thought, and also how you view the world, so representation or tasawwur, also your comprehension of the world around you, and also the attitude towards people and towards events, And this is what we can also call the attitudinal worldview. Just very quickly, in terms of types of worldview, I mean, you can see from the secular perspective, secular perspective, they would look at the kind of unilineal development. So, like humanity, they have started from nothing, from from the barbarian state, and at that time they developed the Smiths, and we can say that it's the hunter-gatherer community. They would have this mythological worldview, and so. And as they go, as they progress, maybe they develop the monotheism and religion, and later on, they, after already after the Enlightenment, people develop the new philosophies, and then the scientific worldview kind of takes place now, and it is kind of displaces the mythological, religious, and the philosophical worldviews. And this is a secular perspective on the worldview, and it corresponds with the unilineal development of civilizations. But then, of course, from the Islamic perspective, we don't look at it this way. We know that the humanity from the very beginning was knowledgeable. And from the very beginning, there was Tawheed. And so the humanity from the very beginning was at the height of knowledge. All right. And then with time and with the weakening of belief, this religious worldview, or the Tawheedi worldview, it gets replaced by some of this, it could be philosophical, ideological, mythological, or maybe some other. And until some new other prophets come, or maybe scholars come, and they bring people together they bring people to the straight path with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so the factors, in my view, factors that shape one's worldview, so your personal experiences, your level of education, the values and ethics that you studied from childhood, the values that you acquired in your childhood and your adulthood, your relationships also affect your worldview, and whether those relationships are strong or weak, or they are positive or negative, they also make you. They can also shape your attitudes and behaviors, and so. Also the culture and tradition, and of course the religion, and whether you are healthy or you're sick. This will also, then it may affect the way you view the world around you. You may be positive or negatively. You may view it positively or negatively. And other things are the political views, and also belonging to a group, and whatever information or literature or social media that you consume. So all of this actually shapes your worldview, and it is up to us to enforce to strengthen the worldview using a specific, maybe focusing on some of these here. So maybe we want to focus on religion and health and wellness, and specific literature that we want to enhance our Islamic worldview. We want to read the Quran more, and these things. If we understand what are the things that really affect our belief systems, then we can actually manipulate, and we can do something about it. Whether we can strengthen the correct worldview, the Islamic worldview, the Quranic worldview, by referring to it more and more, by strengthening some of those elements. Now, this statement here, this is the maxim in Islamic jurisprudence. I don't know if I translated it correctly, so you may correct me if I'm wrong. So this actually says that judgment of a thing is a function of its perception. So whenever we, as scholars, as students, whenever we look at some phenomenon, at some problem, we will judge upon it based on our perception, based on our worldview. So here, tasawwur would actually mean the worldview, this paradigm that we are in. And also our perception or our whether it is complete or it's incomplete, whether it is wrong or it's not, or it is some partial understanding of something. And so the judgment of a thing is a function of its perception. Now, the Islamic worldview, and this is what I would like to really thank Dr. Basma Abdul Ghaffar. She developed this. She's a vice president at our Maqasid Institute, vice president for public policy. And she developed it a few years ago, and she shared it with me, and I would like to share it with you as well. And from the Maqasid perspective, the Islamic worldview is basically, of course, it is based on Tawheed, but also it is based on this three key ideas that we at Maqasid Institute we share with our members, with our students, with all the community. These three elements are the purposefulness, connectivity, and holism. So there is a purpose for the creation, and everything that we do as Muslims. The purpose of it is to get to be closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whether we do it willfully and through inspiration, or through understanding, through fiqh, we do it, we obey what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do, and this way we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the decreed here, in my understanding, what it means here, the decreed purposefulness here, or obedience, is that all of our cells, and also in nature, every cell, every atom is actually they have a decreed life, and they have specific purposes, and they obey the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala completely. All right, but we as human beings, we are given this the choice, and we are able to and we are given the choice whether to follow, to obey, or not to obey. But then, as Muslims, of course, we need to be, our purpose here is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the element here, another element of this worldview, is the connection or connectivity. What it means is that we are really interconnected. This everything in the universe is interconnected, and we are all dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are, He's a creator, and we are created beings, and everything around us, it belongs to Him. And so we are dependent on the Creator, on Allah. And but we are interdependent. So we are dependent on ourselves first, and dependent on other people around us. But we're also dependent on everything around us, on the nature that we see, on the water that we drink, on on other people, and also on even on the bees and the insects. And so everything is so interconnected. There is a huge interdependency, and this connection is also not only at the moral level, not only at the religious level, but also at the material level. And in terms of holism, or the holistic, it's since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is created, and the idea of Tawheed actually carries in itself, carries the idea that there is unity in knowledge, unity of this in this world. And what we do is actually we are supposed to be, as individuals, we are supposed to be constructive and not destructive. And so this is our worldview. We are supposed to be constructive human beings. And it is one of those, one of the roles that, that are given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to us, to human beings as Khalifa. And also there is diversity and measure and balance. So everything is that we see in the world today is in balance. And unfortunately, we humans, because of the this anthropocentrism, we place the human being at the top, and we deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We place the human being at the top, at the center of all development, and we kind of use up the resources, and we don't care about the other the other generations and other creations of Allah. But there is balance, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you do something, I mean, if you disturb the balance, you'll see a lot of facade, a lot of problems in the world. And so this is the worldview that we I wanted to share with you here. And how do we reorient the worldview? And so we can consider the revelation as the main source, and also we put the knowledge to reality. Whatever we acquire from the revelation, whatever we understand from this authoritative source, we try to put this knowledge into reality. And in terms of scholarship, we need to look at it in a more comprehensive manner. And so in terms of knowledge, so we say that reorienting the worldview and revelation as the main source of authoritative knowledge, logic, and conceptualization. So, of course, we do accept that Allah is the primary source of true knowledge, but then ask yourself, when was the last time when you really looked into the Quran, trying to find some answers for the problems that you are seeing or that you're experiencing? The idea of the tawakkul, or the idea of relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance is there, but we are not as an ummah, we are not using it, unfortunately, to the full extent, the extent that is required of us. And so we are in many traditional societies, we just put the Quran as something sacred, and we put it on a shelf, and we don't use it as a guide, but as a source of getting sawab. Whenever we just want to, whenever we remember Allah, maybe on certain days, when somebody dies, for example, somebody is born, or there is maybe the Thursday night. I mean, on the Jum'ah, you remember Allah and then you read. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends this book as a guidance, and something that is open, and for us to try to base our thinking on this primary source. And so the more we read the primary source, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who opens up the ideas, or opens up the meanings also to people, the more we interact with this book, the more we build the relationship with the book of Allah. Allah will place something in the heart, will strengthen the iman, or strengthen the belief in the hearts, and the perception will be also affected. And so this knowledge, so the state of the heart, actually, it does affect the way we use knowledge, receive knowledge, and we use knowledge. And also the knowledge is connected to a complex web of fundamental meanings. So what we need to look at here is what are the fundamental concepts that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shares with us or teaches us in the Quran. So who is a human being, for example? Is it just something who is, just automatically goes about his life? Something that someone who just gets born, lives, and dies, and there is nothing that kills the person except the time. As the mushrikeen, they denied the message, saying that nothing kills except the time. And so there is a complex web of fundamental meaning. So what is the human being? What is the what is iman? What is the belief? And many other concepts that are given in the Book of Allah. What is the well-being? What is hayat al-tayyiba, for example? And how do we understand it, and how do we practice? How do we reach hayat al-tayyib? So it's a concept. It's a compounded concept, hayat al-tayyiba, but then it is connected to many other things, to other meanings within the Quran. And so it is connected to, let's say, good work, like amal salih. So what is amal salih? Again, there are definitions to amal salih in the Quran, and also in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And so once you develop this thinking pattern in yourself, not only looking at the writings, not only looking at the writings of the earlier scholars, but you yourself as a believing Muslim, as a researcher, as a student, you start to build your own worldview by looking at these webs, different concepts in the Quran, and how they are connected to objectives, and also what values do they carry, and what are the commands, what are the halal and haram about it, and what are the universal laws, and who are these commands targeted to or aimed at. And so all of this, once you start looking at it as a very complex web, and this is kind of, in the modern language, you can look at it as a systems perspective, or dynamic systems perspective. And so it's a complex web of meanings. Now, in terms of reality, once we understand that, we understand that everything is so interrelated, and there are fundamental concepts, and we have to understand those concepts in their context, and also in relation to the objectives. Then we will understand how to actually apply that knowledge to reality, and how to view the reality, and then we can we can understand our own goals and aims, our purposes, and also we can build this strategic, the strategy for us, for our families, for our organizations that we work at, and also for the ummah. So it's very important to connect these two. So the revelation, the knowledge itself, how we supposed to acquire knowledge from the primary sources, and how to apply them in reality, and then looking at the scholarship in general. And so here we talk about ijtihad, and then many a time we in Islamic discourse we limit ijtihad only to fiqh, or anything that is related to so-called Islamic studies, whether it is fiqh, usul al-fiqh, ulum al-Quran, ulum al-hadith, and everything, ilm al-kalam, and so on. So ijtihad is like, it's also only for that kind of scholarship, and everything else is secular, and for that secular, for the secular sciences, we will use some other perspective. But then from the Maqasid perspective, from the holistic Islamic perspective, it's everything, all of it is well integrated. It's a comprehensive scholarship. And so this scholarship is very broad, and you can be a scholar in not only in علوم القرآن, علوم الحديث, in fiqh, usul al-fiqh, but also you can be a scholar كان مجتهد in let's say in medicine, in psychology, مجتهد in economics, and so on. So the ijtihad is a very broad, is very wide, has a very wide scope. But of course, it's something that it takes time, and it takes a lot of effort. We know it from the very definition of the word ijtihad as expenditure or expending a lot of effort. So it means that we need to really develop ourselves, and we need to be able to work really hard in order to develop this comprehensive scholarship, so that we can challenge the status quo. And what is the status quo today is all the ideas, the philosophical perspectives, the secular kind of philosophical perspective, and also the political, the public policy, and so on. All of them, they have their own paradigm, but we want to challenge that paradigm. And so here we come to the Maqasid methodology, and this is something that was developed by Professor Jasser Ouda, and of course I think many of you either have heard him in the first lecture, and also you can visit our YouTube channel, or you can also you can sign up for our Maqasid methodology course, and you can actually go through this methodology yourself. But very briefly, I'm going to introduce it to you, and this is how it looks like. So it starts with a purpose, and the purpose, it needs to be also in line with the Quran and the Sunnah, and just like we know from the hadith of Umar ibn al-Khattab, where it starts on the إنما الأعمال بالنيات. So all the matters are judged by their intentions. So we need to be able to develop this intentionality, this purpose, to worship Allah, to get to the truth. Just like Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he said, "Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen." So everything that we do is for the sake of Allah. But then when we come to certain very serious questions, let's say if we are developing a research project, then we come to this stage, the cycles of reflection. If you are new to it, then it is going to be very hard to visualize it. But it is something that you develop. You read the Quran. You try to read the whole book, and you try to notice some of these things, like concepts. As I said, there are some fundamental concepts. So you have to notice those concepts and how they are opened up, how they are explained, or how they are given in different contexts. You see, one and the same concept can be given differently in different places in the Quran. And so how this related to some commands or to some objectives, universal laws, groups, and proofs and values. And so once you do that, and of course it requires time and effort, and maybe if it is not possible for one person to do, then it needs to be done in groups, or at least you can, if you do not know the Arabic well, then you can at least get a good translation, or maybe several translations, and better still if you know several languages. Maybe you can access translations in different languages and actually try to understand those concepts and other things in the Quran. By the way, in English, for the English translation, I would recommend reading Muhammad Asad's The Message of the Quran. I think it has a good translation, but of course you can look at some other translations as well. And so this is the essence of it. So this is the main point. You do the reflection, cycles of reflection based on what you want to find out from what is the problem, what is the question that you have, and you want some answers from the Quran and also from the Sunnah. Now, in terms of Sunnah, of course, it is even more difficult, and this is where you need other scholars, other specialists to advise on this. And if you have let's say access to the books of Hadith, especially if I'm not mistaken, and I think Dr. Zaid Barzanji is here also with us. I think it is Saleh Hashami and his book on I don't remember the yeah, Ma'alim al-Sunnah. Yeah, Ma'alim al-Sunnah. So it is also the compilation of hadith, if I'm not mistaken, of more than about 3,900 hadith, if I'm not mistaken. But it is kind of distilled compilation of the hadith from the Kutub al-Sittah. And so these are the most important part of the methodology and the framework you build your by reading the Quran, by noticing this interrelationship between these 7 elements. You can kind of build this framework, this conceptual framework in your mind. And this is exactly the reason why I talked so much about the worldview before. So the primary sources, the more you refer to them, the more you accept them as the primary source, your authoritative source of knowledge, and you read them in this way, it will help to develop your worldview and your understanding. And the fiqh, actually, your understanding of the issues. And also, of course, not forgetting the critical studies of literature and reality. So whenever you have a a research project, you have to do literature review. You have to identify some gaps in literature, and also you have to see what other scholars have said and talked about. So it's a normal process of research. But what Maqasid methodology does here is adding this important step so that it is there to develop your worldview, to develop your paradigm, and so that within this Quranic paradigm, you are able to challenge the status quo that is in the in the literature. In the literature today. So whether you are in Islamic psychology field, or in economics, in finance, in medicine, or in many other areas, this step is important because it really builds the worldview, and then you are able to critically examine what you read afterwards. And then after that, based on what you have read, based on what you have identified, and based on your critique, and based on your worldview, you can also you can start working on your formative theories and principles. And so this is how it looks like, and it can be applied in research, it can be applied in education, and in action. And so by strengthening our Islamic, our Quranic worldview, we can look differently into and conduct research differently. We can structure education differently, and also our relationships and our, let's say, entrepreneurship or our work in our communities will be maybe structured differently as well. And lastly, the last point in this presentation, and I will stop here, is the scholarship. We can look at it, from the Greek perspective. We see the Greeks, and they kind of they divided it into the the disciplines that we have right now. I mean, it's kind of a Greek approach to two disciplines. I mean, looking at natural phenomena or natural sciences, and then like social sciences, and then humanities, and then religious or maybe theology, and then philosophy. And especially today, the contemporary our contemporary sciences they are so developed, and they are so compartmentalized, and they basically you can study the whole life just one very small area of science and not really move away from it. But what we offer here, or what we propose, is that we recognize the disciplinary sciences. I mean, still the same. The natural sciences are needed, and the social and humanities are needed, and all of the other. But then we can look from the Islamic perspective. We can look at the usuli studies, or all the fundamental studies, or the studies of the Quran, studies of the Hadith, studies of the Kalam, or the philosophy, the Kalam itself, and the and Usuluddin, for example. So these are fundamental Islamic studies that you have to base on the Quran and Sunnah, and you develop certain ideas, maybe in muamalat, in ibadat, or some others. But then there is this area called phenomena studies. So this is where we want to look at the at phenomena as they happen. Not from disciplinary perspective, but as they happen in the real world. And so this can be divided as problem-based research, or phenomena-based studies, or also transdisciplinary studies. So something that you really focus on just one area. Let's say, since many of you are in psychology, maybe you focus on the phenomena of, let's say, depression, and you look at it not only from as a psychologist, but also you look at it from the perspective of the nutritionist and dietitian, and maybe there are some other underlying problems, not only the emotional part, not only spiritual, but maybe there are some other things that are involved. So it's a transdisciplinary kind of view of it. And lastly, these strategic studies, something that we can use the Quran and Sunnah and develop this worldview that we develop by reading the primary sources of Islam, in order to develop strategies for our organizations, our institutions, our families, and so on. So it's strategic studies for development, kind of management studies, but then I think it's more of strategic studies. And so with this, I would like to end. I know it's been now, it's I think more than 60 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you very much for listening, and if I'm able to answer any of your questions, inshallah, I'll try to do that. And we have Dr. Zaid Barzanji, our president of Maqasid Institute, with us, and I am inshallah, and also Dr. Zaid, we are here inshallah to answer any of your questions if we can, inshallah. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Ildus. This was a very insightful and succinct uh, overview of the Maqasid methodology. And hopefully my voice is clear to everyone.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it was a very good lecture. I was noticing how you put the importance of putting Allah Ta'ala above all, and the importance of making revelation as the main source of knowledge when you have to reorient the worldview. I really found that something that is like the powerhouse of the Maqasid methodology. And I think this is something that is not just related to the scientific field, but it is applicable to the entire life in all of its aspects. And Jazakallah khair once again. We will move on to questions and answers right now. Is it okay with you, Dr. Ildus?
Yes, yes, please, please, of course.
Okay, so we have this question from Niqat Jalil, and they're asking how can Islamic psychology contribute to and benefit from interdisciplinary research collaborations? Can you please elaborate on that?
Yes, thank you, really, thank you very much. Well, if you read about ijtihad today, you know, ijtihad, and you can find a lot of articles on contemporary ijtihad and how we can practice it actually. And you can come across the idea of collective ijtihad, and it's not new. You know, scholars even during the Prophet ﷺ, the Sahaba, they would really communicate, they would really talk about issues, and they try to solve problems in you know, in collaboration, in cooperation. And so today you can really benefit a lot from this interdisciplinary research and even transdisciplinary research by looking at phenomena. You know, this is where we really stress on this concept, phenomena studies, or the phenomena studies. And so you can look at an issue or a phenomena from, as a psychologist, you can look at it and you can define it from your own perspective. But then if you look at it, let's say from sociological perspective, or maybe from the medical, and maybe if you bring a team together, whereby there is maybe a medical doctor, there is a specialist in sociology, anthropology, and an usuli professor, then maybe you can talk about this issue, let's say behavioral patterns, you know, of people who are, let's say, just entering Islam, for example, and what kind of problems they face, and how to help them to navigate this, you know, Islam, and find their place in the Muslim Ummah. And if you look at it as a problem worth solving, then you can engage with other scholars and define it together. You know, you work together with this different scholars, and you debate about it, and you know, you debate it, you discuss it, and find what are the things that that are different in your views, but also what actually unites all of your different views. And then you can develop a certain proposition or maybe hypothesis, and you can try and solve this issue by in collaboratively, you know, what is that? Collective ijtihad. So you can benefit. Say, the Islamic psychology discipline can really benefit from the usuli studies, from maybe sociology and anthropology, and also will benefit a lot from the medical, from the medicine as well, from the field of medicine. Maybe even like functional medicine, or what is it, the diet kind of dietitian and so on. So just some of this, some of my idea, I think.
Jazakallah
Any
khair,
other?
Dr. Ildus. Yes, we have another question here. The participant is asking, is there any example research in psychology as disciplinary study using Maqasid methodology?
Well, personally, maybe Dr. Zaid will, if you have seen any, but then we will be looking at these issues. I think Prof. Rasul will be presenting on this, and I think he is working. So because I'm not in psychology area. Also, if you refer to Prof. Rasul and also Prof. Bagus Riona, I think they can provide you more information on this, whether there is anything that is done or being developed in this area. But also, in my view, this book by Prof. Malik Badri, rahimahullah, the book Tafakkur or Contemplation, I think it is one of the ways we can classify under Maqasidi kind of perspective. I mean, because he bases his thinking on the Quran and the Sunnah. You know, that's for him is the basis of the idea of contemplation. And then he compares and contrasts it with the contemporary psychology, you know, not Islamic, but just psychology area, and how to understand tafakkur from the Quranic perspective. And so beside that, I'm not sure. And I would really refer you to those scholars in your circle.
Assalamu alaikum. I would like to add to relate to this, Dr. Ildus. Yes, actually, Professor Rasul has been, he developed some work in psychology using the Maqasid methodology. Also, Dr. Bagus, we will share, inshallah, this in our info group, IPRN info group, Bismillah.
All right. Thank you.
I think that's it, Dr. Ildus. There are no questions given to us from chat. So we will be moving on towards the end of this session now. Is there anything you would like to add, Dr. Ildus?
Well, only the thanks. You know, I would like to really thank everyone for joining this session. And, you know, I would like to invite Dr. Zaid, if possible, to just say a few things at the end also, if he is here with us. He's a president of Maqasid Institute.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. It is indeed a pleasure and honor to be in touch with all of you. All those who are working in the field of psychology. This is an incredibly critical field. From what I see, you know, every day when I work with the community and I deal with challenges and problems globally, there is a strong psychological component to the challenges that humanity faces today. And the fact that you are in this area, in this field, you are, inshallah, I look forward to you to help, you know, Muslims and non-Muslims and everybody who knocks at our doors for advice and guidance. Like Dr. Ildus has discussed here, we made this partnership with ISIP and with Al-Balkhi Institute because we want to really strengthen this component of centralizing the revelation and making the revelation as the guiding and driving force behind what we are trying to do. And until we really resolve this issue, no matter what we try, we will be starting from a secular, non-godly paradigm, and we end up with partial solutions in the best of situations. Really serious, deep solutions will have to kind of be examined thoroughly and come from the Quranic paradigm and the revelation paradigm that includes also the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is, I hope, to be just another, refresher, lecture from Dr. Ildus, and if you have already been exposed to Maqasid-based thinking, if not, then we encourage you to, join the effort, the partnership, Islamic Psychology Research Network, and participate, or at least take further steps. The simplest challenge that I would like to present to you today is that if you are actively dealing with a challenge or a question or a problem or research project, the simple challenge I would like to present to you is that to follow the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the very first ayah that was revealed, which is Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Reflect on that, on your challenge, on your research project in light of the Quran al-Kareem. So conduct a khatm of the Quran al-Kareem, reading the Quran al-Kareem from beginning to the end, and try to see and seek and plead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guidance throughout this process. And I would love to hear from you at the end. Did that make any difference in your perspective, in your understanding, and how you are understanding the problem? How do you understand the solution? Do you find a purpose there? Do you find anything in the process? So that will be, inshallah, my parting words for all of you. And we are here to support you in any way we can, bi'awni ta'ala. Please join the effort of IPRN, the ISIP, and if you want to, you're also welcome to become members of the Maqasid Research Network. You can visit maqasid.org, and you can also join, be part of that bigger network as well. And may Allah bless you all. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Zaid.
Alaikum
Thank you.
assalam.
Wa
Barakallah feek.
alaikum assalam. Jazakallah khair for adding these wonderful comments from your side, Dr. Zaid. And we will move on now towards the closing duas. So, Dr. Ildus, I would like to ask you to do that, please.
Before that, may I ask you, Dr. Ildus, to share your email? Some of the participants wanted to contact you directly. Is that possible?
Yes. Sister Yusuf, you have my email, but let me just do it very quickly
Okay.
here in the chat. So it's Rafikov@maqasid.org. Okay, I guess in the closing, we can recite the Surah Al-Asr. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. So thank you everyone again for joining today. We hope that it was beneficial. And if you have any questions or comments, if you want to contact me directly or any of us at the Maqasid Institute or at the IPRN members, so please do so. And you can find us also through the organizers. And have a good rest of the weekend, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On behalf of all of us at IPRN, really thankful to you, Dr. Ildus. And please forgive any of our shortcomings, and special thanks to all of the team that helped put this together, especially Sister Yusra. Please, everyone who has joined us today, you are welcome to join us in the very next session, which will be held on the 10th of August with Dr. Ahmed Tanan. And for anyone who is interested to join, we have our IPRN WhatsApp group. The link has been shared in the chat. I will also share it with you right now. And this is the IPRN group. Everyone wants to join it from here, they can, and if the link is present in the chat as well. And please provide us with your feedback on this, and all of the people who registered with the first lecture and have been providing their reflections. You are again required to provide your reflection before the deadline for the certificate, and for everyone else that is not a requirement. Jazakumullah khair. We will see you all in the next lecture, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah bless you all.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum assalam.